is, well, it's a dog, but
I like little, funny-looking dogs. Do you ever watch beheading videos on the internet?
No, not really. I will admit I have seen one, and it is the worst thing to watch ever. Well, probably one of the worst things I've ever seen on the internet. Yeah, I don't know if I want to recount it, but dude was alive. It was like a Mexican gang thing that I don't know why I ended up watching or how it got linked somewhere, but
Chainsaw?
no, I've heard about that one and I don't even want to get near it. This was a machete though, which is not necessarily better.
Well, I have watched a lot of beheading videos.
That's probably not a good thing.
Yeah. Via Reddit.
Where do you browse on Reddit to find that?
I
I mean, not that I'm going to go do this, but I mean, that's kind of...
R Morbid Reality or R Watch People Die.
Yeah, that would make sense. Well, at least you're not going to r/jailbait.
Well, that doesn't exist.
I know it doesn't
anymore.
exist anymore. I'm just saying it's funny how that gets banned.
Well, that's like what I was talking about earlier.
Exactly.
It's like
Versus
a lot of beheading videos.
Beheading videos. Well, and again, violence versus sexuality, whatever.
Yeah. They get you get accustomed to them.
I'm sure you would, just like you get accustomed to just about anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
the first one I saw, I was like
really
horrified.
terrible. Well, yeah,
But now it's like,
yeah. I mean, the thing that makes me most ill. I mean, I could watch a surgery all day, right? And that's the same thing. They're cutting people over. I mean, it's a little bit more organized, obviously, because they have a process. But it's also that they're doing a good thing for that person. They're trying to save them, or they're doing whatever. Versus a beheading video, they're just murdering this person, and it's awful. Like, I feel like when I watch something like that, it's like, God, what would I be thinking, if I were that person being beheaded? Because it's just like sickening.
Last week was probably the worst one I ever saw, and that's like, it doesn't affect me much because I've seen a lot of them, but just because I think it was Pakistan.
One of those places.
Yeah, I don't know exactly like what group was doing the beheading, but they made this kid do it. He was probably like 10 years old, and he cut off this guy's head.
That's awful.
That's the worst because
he's an innocent child.
Kid do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's, I guess, how they sort of indoctrinate.
Yeah,
people.
I mean, if you start cutting people's heads off when you're 10,
yeah, you're desensitized.
What kind of person will you be when you're an adult?
Yeah, no shit. No, that's really fucked up stuff, and I hate that there's that kind of violence and that. I don't even understand what kind of a person would be required to do such a sick thing, and these are organizations of people. It's like, I don't know, it's messed up.
Yeah, well,
Stop it, Peter.
Yeah, what's kind of scary about that is that they are organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably not all like sociopaths.
Mm-hmm.
Like the average.
No, I imagine most of them probably aren't sociopaths.
Average people are capable of things like that. Just like Nazis and whatnot.
Nazis, that whole Even they have their internment camps, more like concentration camps in North Korea. They do that. They do the same kind of shit that the Nazis were doing in World War II, except today, like normal day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody hears about it because it's in North Korea and they don't really publicize much. But it blows my mind. Like, again, how somebody could even end up being so messed up and in the head to do that. And again, they're indoctrinated, and that's, I don't know, it's just stupid.
Well, what sucks is that it's like you don't have to be messed up in the head. If that's the culture, you might kind of just feel like you have to do that.
Well, yeah, no. Like I said,
As your
if
job
you're
or
raised in it, and that's your thing, because that again, it's still an indoctrination. Like they're still being introduced to it and convinced that it's okay or normal.
Right.
I don't know. It's messed up.
Yes.
Why can't we just have peace? No murder.
Yeah.
No war. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I just saw an article that says, and this is completely related.
Okay, here we go. Well, I'm okay with the subject change because I don't like talking about that stuff.
Just saw an article that they estimate there's 60 billion habitable planets.
Oh yeah.
I don't know in what, in the universe. Or
Well,
in our
the
galaxy
universe
or
probably.
what?
Yeah. It would be the universe, right? Anyways.
I don't know, how big is our galaxy?
Well, the Milky Way, right? I guess. Yeah, you're right. Fuck, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, well, like, so there's probably horrible things happening all over the universe.
Sure.
Like, there's things, aliens killing each other on other planets.
We can assume that. Extrapolate from the fact that, if the universe is infinite.
I don't think it is.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's sort of the saying, is that it's infinite
But
because
there might be an infinite amount of universes.
or it's expanding or whatever. It's potentially
But it's slowing down.
infinite. Yeah, it's slowing down. That's true.
It's going to start contracting.
And then we're gonna just no, I don't know.
Not us.
So you can assume that if it is infinite, there would be other civilizations that would be doing the same kind of shit that we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys.
A bunch of dickheads.
Yeah.
Just like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's weird, like, that as you learn about as you become aware of different things going on in the world, you're expected to care somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, you feel bad for the people in Mexico or in Syria, but people don't think about the horrible things that are happening on other planets because they don't know about it.
Well, yeah.
But, like, once they do...
Or they may not exist, like...
Yeah, but, like...
I'm just doing air
let's
quotes,
just
I don't know
say
why, really.
They do, and in the future we can somehow have media stream from there, and we see the things that are going on.
Well,
and then we'll care. Then we'll be like, oh my god.
And light year, for every, say we're looking at a planet that's light years and light years away, that information to get to us is traveling via light, which means that we're looking at something years old. So the things that we may be looking at now on these habitable planets that are really far away, they could already have life that's like all good and doing shit, but what we're looking at is like prehistoric to them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hmm.
But still, we don't
So-
have the technology to see that anyways.
There would
even
be
if
no way to really have like a live feed from there.
No, just like there's no way to have a live feed on this planet. Everything is delayed by a little bit at least.
A little bit.
Until we get into quantum physics and stuff.
Yeah.
Quantum entanglement states.
Yeah, so let's say they invent a teleportation device for people, and this becomes common.
Yeah.
And so...
Can we talk about teleportation for a minute, though? Before it becomes common.
Okay.
Teleportation... What do you define as teleportation?
Well, this is what I'm going to say, is
Mhm.
that the only way I think they could do this maybe I'm wrong, but I think that you would have to like destroy the person. And
Exactly.
recreate them.
That's what I was going to get to. Because I was curious if you're going to say, like, well, you get a machine, it recreates you on the other side and all as well. But in order to do that, that means that this is the copied version, and over here is the original. And what do you do with the original? Like, you just torch it when you're done? Like, well, he's over here now. We can't have two.
Yeah. I think you would. And I think people could, like...
But you'd never know. That's the other
totally...
That's the... Yeah.
Like, get used to that. I think it's normal. You know?
Well, no. That's the thing. And this is the sort of, I don't know, philosophical question to it is that okay? And as a person with my own brain that is, just a bunch of, cells and shit, whatever, it's the same as everyone else's. I'm not special. My conscience is not a, spirit or celestial being. It is simply a bunch of matter in my skull, right? And if I get into a teleportation device, it's going to break me down and rebuild me somewhere else. If it uses new material in a new location, you have killed me. And now there's a exact copy. It thinks, it acts, and everything, just like the original me. So to the rest of the world, it's the same. Yeah. But to me, I'm dead. And that's the thing that I'm like, well, obviously I don't want to use a teleportation device if it's going to do that, because that means I'm dead. I'm still alive in a different version of me.
But I don't think it would feel like you died.
I think it would. I think because in order to do that, let's say you clone or it is cloning, basically, except you destroy the first one. Mm-hmm. And if you cloned yourself, you're not having two consciences all the time. It's a new you in one of them. And that's the same way it would be in that.
But if you started from where you stopped...
Started from where you stopped?
Yeah, because you destroyed because you make a copy at this point in time.
Yeah, and it would be the same.
Copy, yeah.
It would behave the same.
Wouldn't it think the same?
It would think the exact same. But it wouldn't be me. It'd be another me.
I know, but it would feel like you.
I wouldn't feel anything. I'd be dead. It would feel like me, sure.
Well, what...
What I'm saying is the only way for teleportation to work in that it doesn't kill the original user is if it accelerates your particles to a new location and rebuilds you.
I'm saying it doesn't matter if it kills the
original but that's person. A very... I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, to the rest of the universe, again, it doesn't matter. To the rest of the world, even your family, it wouldn't matter because you are still behaving the exact same you always did, except it's a new you. But to me, it matters. And anyone who cares about their own conscience and, their self, it should matter anyways.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. I'm just...
So do you think that the brain, the human brain, is like a computer?
In ways.
Do you think we could make a man-made consciousness?
Not at this stage, for sure. Eventually, probably. But the way AI, still kind of works is... it's a bunch of if statements where if, the earth is flat, I can continue rolling, if I'm a robot and I have wheels. Yeah. I can continue rolling. If I see stairs, there has to be some sort of mechanism that kicks in to know how to use stairs. And it's just elaborate forms of these sort of simple if statement questions that determine how you think. That's AI today.
But that's not...
And it can learn because it can create new scenarios.
Than how we think.
No, it's not. It's just it's way more complex. And obviously it's organic. There's an operating function. However it functions is not, off of a, like computer clock rate, It's not the same. It does do those similar computations. And essentially ours would be a billion if statements all in one. Hold on. Peter's being a jerk. anyways, yeah, it would just be a billion if statements to do one that we would program into a computer, because the computer is going to see things on a different level, different. We take into way more variable stuff. Like this stair is only this high.
But at one time, I don't think we take into account that much.
I think we take into a lot more than we're conscious of.
A lot, but I don't think it's
We're pretty
like,
complex, man.
unthinkable.
No, I mean, there have been.
At one point in
Yeah.
time, like right now, all I'm thinking about is
Pizza
speaking.
and beer. No.
Like what I'm gonna say next, and speaking, and your cat.
Yes. Yeah. No. I mean, to us, that's what we're thinking, but we're also feeling the couch. We're not thinking about it, but our brain is processing it.
Right.
There are so many like little factors that are, the light coming into my eyes, the sound of my voice reflecting. It's going to interpret how and when I speak, especially if it's a really echoey hall. I'll wait. Like just naturally, like these things are being processed that we don't think about. And in a computer AI, they're all going to have to be programmed, or at least they can self-program, which would be, here's an external stimuli that is now affecting me, and how do I overcome it? And then it saves that information so it can do it again, just like we learn. But you have to have sensors, and you have to have a lot of processing power, at least a day. Eventually we'll get there. But again, our brain is this organic thing that somehow is doing all this, and I'm sure there are, it processes very differently than our modern computers.
Why do you think you're you?
I'm me because of a bunch of chemicals and matter in my head.
Right, like if you create a human brain, or a human brain is created,
Yes.
then that's a person.
Yes. As long as it has the rest of the body to, like control. Because the brain by itself ain't very, very much value.
Right. What I'm saying is, like, a person is born and their brain develops,
Yeah.
and they are that person,
Yeah.
right? Their brain makes them who they are. But why aren't you me?
Yeah, and there are a number of things. Again, chemical and the matter, the structure of the brain along with the chemical balances, and then on top of that, experience and setting.
Like, you're only you because you are the matter,
Yeah.
the chemicals and things.
Yeah,
that are in
yeah.
your head. So don't you think that, in a way, reincarnation is possible because a brain can develop in the future
That is based on the same matter that was in you. Is that what you're saying?
that you will see, that you will experience as
So
that person.
like eventually after I'm dead, and for if I'm gonna be super optimistic here, I end up as a cow.
Well,
Is that what, and I'd be conscious that I was once a person? Is that what you're saying, or just that the same matter that was in my brain is now in part of a cow's brain?
neither one.
Neither one. Okay.
Just it is your brain now.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be other stuff.
Yeah.
And once it became a brain, it became you.
Yeah.
So another thing could develop in the future that you happen to be.
I think it's just called the carbon cycle. I mean, really. I mean, that's what you're saying, and
But
like
why-
reincarnation is the belief that that you become another creature, sort of like you're transferring the you, but there is no you. It's just matter. So really, you're just part of something else.
Mm-hmm.
And in the carbon cycle or whatever, you decompose, it goes into the earth, it, you know, becomes nutrients for all sorts of other crap. It grows, that stuff dies, you know. You know, the saying, we are all made of stars or whatever, and, you know, it's all just matter, and we happen to come from it. And we'll go back into it and then go into something else, but we won't ever be conscious of that once this brain is gone.
Yeah. That's something else.
So this is my one shot, as Eminem said, right? I think that was an Eminem. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, what makes things living?
A heartbeat, usually.
Carbon?
No, carbon is just matter. What makes something alive is...
Being alive is a human definition.
You know, kind of.
I mean...
Yeah.
We are all matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so why are we really different from a rock?
I think it's that there's some sort of, I don't know, reaction, and you ingest stuff and, you know, output waste, and, you know, like a plant is alive. It doesn't have a brain or a heartbeat.
Right.
But it is organic, has cellular structure, you know. It gets energy somehow through nutrients in the soil and from the sun. We eat and sleep.
Yeah. The plant grows.
Yeah.
And processes things.
It takes in carbon dioxide,
you know,
and spits out oxygen. We take in oxygen, we spit out carbon dioxide, you know.
Yeah.
All those things are processes that I think we've determined, you know, is what we call life. Obviously, life is a construct that we've created because there weren't like textbooks laying around for us when we came to be.
Yeah.
But that's what we determine as life, which is, you know, you live, you breathe, you eat. And what are the things that are required for life? Oxygen is what we say is required. You know, people theorize that's not a requirement for life, for example, on other planets, but yes.
So, whatever matter creates a brain,
Mm-hmm.
that matter becomes the person.
Well, the stuff that's going to create a brain is always going to be a variation of the same stuff. The same, like, elements and all that crap. Molecules and cellular structure. The cells are even very, very similar. You know, DNA and all that stuff pays into it. But the structure and, you know, the little quirks and the chemical balances and... you know, all that stuff becomes...
I mean, life as we know it is just as we know it.
Life as we know it is just as we know it. Correct. Yeah. I mean, there's no other way to define life unless we've defined it, you know?
Yeah, we've defined ourselves as, like, the most complicated life forms.
Yeah.
But if there's something, a life form much more complicated than us, we wouldn't even probably be able to see it.
Possibly. I mean, and what is it? They were talking about shadow dimensions or something recently. There's a potential discovery that, you know, we have like a shadow dimension that is like the opposite, or not opposite, but I don't know. Some crazy physics crap. And I always thought of I have a bunch of weird theories that explain, you know, just like religion explains things that we can't explain. That's the whole purpose religion was ever created, that kind of thing. You know, everybody kind of comes up with their own, I think, reasons for things. And I've theorized a number of things, you know, like multiple dimensions, everything is points, you know, time is just a series of these, you know, states, you know. But none of that is proven. We don't know for sure. We can't really exactly control it a whole lot, you know. Yeah. Life is what it is, I guess.
Not really.
Well, to us,
it is as
is
we
what I'm saying.
experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is what it is to us.
It is what it is for now. I think that's what I was saying in the jerking video.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that all that stuff is really interesting. That, you know.
Do you like life?
Yeah, I love it.
Why?
Because that's all. No, I mean, I understand because I know that you think actually kind of a lot, you know, similar to how I think about things. I think where it doesn't really matter. We're insignificant in the big picture. So why, you know, what's important? Why do I care if I live then? And I care if I live because myself now has created reasons to live, right? And my goals and aspirations, whether or not they're significant to anyone but myself, you know, that doesn't matter. It's all within this instance, anyways. That's all we have. That's all we can work from.
Right.
So I want to live.
So like,
because I want to do things and I want to experience and I want to, you know, help people and, you know, all that stuff.
right. So, I mean, if somebody's depressed and they are suicidal, I mean, to them, their perception is things don't matter.
Yeah.
Well, if they have that viewpoint that things don't matter, and they don't like their life, I mean,
then they probably, that's why they're suicidal. I mean, I get that.
yeah. Well, you don't have a moral objection to suicide.
You know, and that's really tricky because from a logical standpoint, no, I don't really, but at the same time, and you just like euthanasia and all that stuff, I don't, if somebody really is in that sort of pain, I understand why they want to die, and frankly, most of the time, it won't affect me, so I shouldn't care.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, the fact that I can live a life that I'm excited about and interested in and want to go places with tells me that they should have every reason to be able to do that too. And so the loss of their life is sort of a loss of potential for society as a whole, as you know, an individual, you know. It just kind of saddens me when that happens, just because I know what people are capable of. I know they're also capable of shitty things, but they're also really capable of great things. So I don't want people to die ever, you know, but again, I understand why some people feel like they want to. But I think they just need purpose for the most part. They need to find purpose.
In God.
That's what does it, sure. I'm not religious. I've said, like, I've used God's name a few times in this, actually. And I every time I do that, I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't do that because I'm not really religious at all. But I'm just saying it as a figure of speech. But I do, again, I understand why people do need religion in a lot of cases, because they can't handle these kinds of things.
Yeah.
They can't process them and be okay with them, you know, without having some sort of, oh, well, when I die, I go to heaven. It's all good, guys, you know, because otherwise they drive themselves mad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get religion. I don't subscribe.